4% of all days in America are now Medicare Advantage versus Medicare fee-for-service. So with this popularity, everybody kind of backs off and doesn't, necessarily push back as much. But, I learned a long time ago, in politics, pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered. And if you get greedy and you push too hard, particularly when it gets too self-interest focused, you will get slaughtered. And that slaughter is beginning to happen. You can look at United Health stock price is down 44% this year. And there's just a bevy of criticism that is emerging. So we're obviously adding to that, but we fundamentally believe one strategy is about transparency and rate. And rate is a concern, but you never lead with rate. Leading with rate is the wrong strategy. I learned that the hard way over the years. You have to lead with quality. You have to lead with the beneficiary. So one thing that we're advocating for and going to be putting in legislation is a focus on their 5-star program where they have to publicly report their denial rates. So if I'm shopping for a plan, as a consumer, I ought to know if the LB plan denies 80% of the claims and the PS plan denies 40. That is a piece of information I want to know when I'm shopping, right? There also ought to be some measure around what I call the hassle factor, that's Cliff's term, but how many recertifications have to be done per episode of care? I had personal experience dealing with this with my uncle, and I'm I'm like an expert. My wife reminds me of that. I don't think I am, but she's like, you're an expert. But literally, I was on the phone with his plan every 48 hours because they were trying to discharge him when he was fainting due to blood pressure issues. Every 48 hours I'm on the phone fighting to get him more rehab care. That's ridiculous. And again, they ought to publicize that. That ought to be a part of the record and a part of the decision-making information that beneficiaries have to ultimately make choices about their plans. We got to deal with rate, and we also have to deal with regulation because at the end of the day, there's a lot of focus on claim denials, in particular pre-authorization. There's a movement in Congress now. We think we're going to be successful in getting in statute some pre-authorization language that's going to prevent some of this ridiculous pre-auth requirements that are in place to receive care. So this is a big deal to us and one that I am and our team is committed to actually changing. So we're excited about it.
That's great. Exciting stuff. But Sean, you talked about working on regulation. What other things are NCAL doing for the members?
Sure. So we're recognizing that there are a lot more nurses in assisted living. And so one of the things that we started was an nurses and assisted living connect community, again, to allow our nurses to not only collaborate with each other and share resources, but also to be a resource for NCAL. When policy decisions come up, when we get questions from members of Congress, we're able to rely on this connect community to assist us in answering those questions and make sure that it's accurate based on what is happening in those communities. We also, as you all know, have a regulatory resource center with a slew of regulations, a slew of resources, whether it's our regulatory bill mapping tool or a bill tracker. We also collaborate with the American Health Law Association. We do an in-house counsel roundtable to make sure that the lawyers, your lawyers that are representing you, have the most current information about trends, risk management, again, all things that will help you. We obviously provide a ton of education and resources around operations, around quality improvement. So these are just a few of the things and resources